A wall is a division, which is the opposite of the cooperation. And tearing down the last wall of visa regime in the Western Balkans means a lot for the citizens. Because the abolition of visas brings along of advantages, and mostly on two levels. First, it means a better economic and political cooperation and improves people-to-people contacts. So just to give you few figures and numbers. Last year, Bosnia-Herzegovina has issued only 107 visas for the citizens from Kosovo, while the number of those to whom the visa has been denied was 283, so it's more than double. And unfortunately, over the years, because of this big wall of the visa regime in the region, the number of the applications of citizens of Kosovo that wanted to visit Bosnia-Herzegovina or to meet their friends in there has been drastically in decline because of the visa. Like in 2018, nearly 1,500 citizens have been asking for a Bosnian visa, so Kosovar citizens, while last year this number was roughly less than 400. So this, I think, it's going to be or it is enough an example to explain why lifting the visa barriers in the region is quite important. We know that the countries will always cooperate with each other if they perceive that it's on their best interest, both economically and politically. And that's what we at the RCC steer. So we would like and we work on to, and we would like to see more cooperation in the region, deeper economic integration, more people-to-people contacts, being quite obvious and conscious that all of this will be done through a system of rules, shared principles, and institutions. Anyhow, I know that the visa liberalization between Bosnia and Kosovo in the region, or the freedom of movement with ID cards, is not like the same of the visa liberalization of Kosovo with the European Union. But I still believe that this is one key policy, and this is one or let's say the agreement among the three agreements that will be signed by the leaders within the Berlin process. The Council of Ministers of Bosnia-Herzegovina and the Presidency already finished all their procedures. And frankly, I have to say, we never had a problem, although the approval in Bosnia-Herzegovina is a bit more complicated, but we never had a problem from Bosnia-Herzegovina. So now, realistically, what is going to happen is that the agreement can start the implementation next year. It is subject to ratification procedure in all 6 economies of the region, and its implementation will start 30 days after all Western Balkans 6 will submit the letter either of ratification, acceptance, or approval to the economy that is the depository of these agreements, and that will be North Macedonia. So both Kosovo and Bosnia-Herzegovina need to ratify in parliament the agreement with a simple majority. But just to be clear enough, which ones are going to be and what are the steps forward? First step is ratification in national levels everywhere in the region in accordance with the national legal procedure. Second step, it's going to be the agreement that will enter into force, as I said, 1 month after when the party will deposit their formal notice of ratification to North Macedonia. The third step is going to be that the parties will need to exchange the specimens of their identity cards. And this has to happen not later than 30 days after this agreement is signed through and then sent, as we said, through the depository of the agreement. So these are the steps that have to be followed now on. Young people in the Western Balkans compose more than 21% of our societies. Now, if you ask me why these agreements are so important, just consider Western Balkans is a region that is in a clear demographic decline. It's not happening only here, it's happening everywhere, frankly. But what worries us, and I think this is one of the issues that we at the RCC are working pretty hard, is to give a chance to the youngsters to stay in the region. More than 69% of the young people in the region would like to leave their countries and find a job elsewhere. Now we talk about the agreements that are close to our hearts, because those agreements are closely related with the young people. The young people in the region are like at 33% unemployed, and more than 67% of them would like to leave their countries. So in case they will find a chance, they are considering to leave their homelands, go and live somewhere else and work as well, build their life in EU or even like further. So that's why these agreements are so important. And during last year 2021, for example, there have been around 8,000 requests for academic qualifications and recognitions within the region. Now imagine a young girl or a young man that has finished the studies, even a master's degree, and is not finding a job in its own capital or in its own city. So for each of them, for every young person, to recognize the diploma if they have the chance to find a job like from Skopje in Tirana, this will take like from 300 to 500 euros per one diploma to be recognized. And again, it will take several months to conclude the recognition process. What is going to happen with these agreements? Now they will pay €0, and I think that for youngsters this means a lot, and they will be able to finish all the procedures only within 14 days. That's a big contribution, and I think that the Western Balkan leaders had a very great idea when they started this process of recognition of the diplomas. While on the, let's say, on the possibility for the ones who already have a profession, which is the mutual recognition of academics. Now we started with 3 professions, like doctors, dentists, and the architects from the Western Balkans. And they can start, if they find a job in somewhere else in the region, their profession can be immediately recognized. What we'll do now on a lot of things. First and foremost, which is like the most important one, and you all know that we are working to remove the tariffs of roaming charges with EU, expecting to start by 2023. And again, after the roaming free in the Western Balkans, I think this is going to be the major steps, which speaks a lot on the connectivity. But it is as well, like it has a market logic behind, because this is not only for the Western Balkan citizens traveling to the EU countries, but even for the EU citizens traveling in the Western Balkans. So there is no logic behind why we should pay like 4 times more than an EU citizen pays while they travel among the countries of European Union. What else? Removing the costs of the payments between Western Balkans and EU in order to make it possible for people doing business and to make cashless payments across borders with the same cost and convenience of the domestic payments. We'll continue with the recognition of other professions, not only the ones that I mentioned before. So we are working on nurses, midwife nurses, pharmacists, and the veterinary surgeons. Again, we'll continue on following closely and to ensuring the implementation of these 3 agreements that I mentioned and we have been talking about. We have a role on the green agenda. We are coordinating the green agenda of the Western Balkans. So, and there is a lot to do, considering that this winter time and next year, it's going to be pretty hard to meet the requirements and the objectives of the green agenda. So coal will be hitting the houses in the Western Balkans during the winter. Energy spikes are so high. So many things that we'll continue to do. And then again, a lot of focus on the digital agenda, on the women economic empowerment, on youth, security as well, disinformation, fake news. All of these are part of our agenda until the end of the year and next year as well. I don't have a crystal ball, but I can say that the choices we make today create the future.